I think at one time I had a buddy of mine, and we were out. We were doing a revival together, crusade together, and he was sharing his testimony, and he'd been to jail several times, a lot of things. He just had been a rascal. Mm-hmm. Still was a little bit of a rascal, and so I began to share. And I said about my life and what God had done for me and where I've been. He said, "I don't understand why God has blessed you. He loves me as much as He loves you. Why has God done anything for you like that?" I said, "Well, I was listening to you. And if Appalachian Power can't trust you, why do you think God would?" Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean He don't love you. But when it comes down to trust in our life, and I think sometimes when that kind of money, when we think about, man, it being handed to somebody, and free money, you and I both know, even when we talk about people's estates and inheritance and things like that, free money mm-hmm. causes more problems than any other money out mm-hmm. there if they get free money.
Sure.
And that seems like it just, messes people up.
You really see the worst come out in people when someone passes away and there's an estate, right? Yeah. You know, maybe I think there's value to what, to what you said, and I think that what's that school of thought that, money just amplifies problems or amplifies the kind of person you are. Right. So maybe that's the difference.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think about, I had a guy one time, I had a minister one time talking to me about, do you remember Jim and Tabby Faye Baker?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Not
a lot of people don't remember them, okay? I went to PTL one time. I would have bought one of them rooms, but my credit card wouldn't take it, wouldn't hold it. But anyway, I had a guy, he was talking about him, how awful he was. And I said, I'm listening to you, and that little church you pastor is a nice church and everything, but if tomorrow you had $100,000 in the offering every time you got your offering, every time it come into your organization, your church, $100,000 2 or 3 times a week, be pretty rough on you to live like you live now. It would be great. Now, I know several people did. Billy Graham lived in the same place, and I know that. But I said, these challenges of these things out here that would come to you with this wealth,
right?
And with that, man, alive. That's like when we see people that, I was sharing with Brian, when we see people that, I watch border security all the time about them smuggling drugs across the border, and I'm always fascinated trying to figure out how to do it exactly. But I watch them do it. Come on now. I mean, now I know you're basically saying like a nice person, but if we had like $5 million worth of cocaine, and I said, it was this easy money, really easy money. All you got to do is just sort of drive this through the border for us, Amanda. You got $1 million coming your way. I mean, you probably wouldn't do it, okay? But it would be a great temptation for a lot of people, okay? And that easy money, when you look at it and you think about it, man, and I believe it would magnify those things. But the people that really go, it's a tough situation when I think about that. Now I think when you're talking about what you're doing, if you're coming into a community and people begin to see a little bit of power that don't have any power, or not normally have any power, and they're now on this board,
yes,
and it's got $10,000 coming in, and they're going to decide how it's going to be spent. I mean,
I say this often. There are boards in lots of towns that they're not elected to those seats, but they're appointed, right?
Right.
It's the tiniest amount of power that you will ever see to go to anyone's head is an appointed board, right?
Right.
Everyone has their own little kingdoms, and imagine how much we could accomplish if no one cared who got the credit, and that's a big problem, and that sets us back a lot.
Right.
I run into that a lot.
Right. It would make sense because of our nature.
Right.
I mean, just because of our nature. I mean, I can see, it's just it's a monster to fight. Okay?
Yes.